Dear devotees, welcome to this morning session. Of course, here in Mayapur it's morning. Your time is afternoon time, evening. So when Padmador Prabhu told me, asked me to speak something, then I was thinking, because we are from Mayapur, this is birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is always good to hear something from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So with this mood in my mind, I thought of speaking about the history of Chaitanya Charitamrita, where we'll be speaking something about the author, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and then we can enter into the Mangalachan prayer. Maybe we can discuss the first verse, Vande Gurun Isha Bhaktan, the verse. So this is how we will continue our discussion, our program today. And I'll speak for around 45 minutes or 50 minutes. And then you can ask me some questions. This is how we will conclude the session for today. So because we're going to speak about Chaitanya Charitamrita, that's why I am thinking we can chant this Mangalachan prayer, which is given in the beginning of Adi Lila by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. There are 14 verses. So we can chant these verses because this is beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So after chanting this Mangalachan prayer, then we will straight go into discussion. Thank you very much for your attention. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Vancha kalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Isham Ishavatarakan Tat Prakasham Tat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Sangyakam Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Sahodito Gauradaye Pushpavanto Chitrau Sando Tamanudo Jadadvaita Brahmopanishadi Tadapyasya Tanubha Yatmantaryami Purushayiti Shosyang Sabhibhava Sadaishwarya Purna Joiha Bhagavan Saswayam Ayam Na Chaitanyat Krishnat Jagati Paratatvam Paramiham Anarpitacharim Chirat Karunaya Kalo Samarpaitumanmata Ujjalarasam Swabhakti Sriyam Hari Purata Sundaradyuti Kadamba Sandipito Sada Hridaya Kandare Spuratu Basachinandana Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Ladini Shakti Asmat Ekatmana Vapi Bhuvi Pura Deha Bhedam Gato Tau Chaitanyakhyam Prakatam Adhuna तद्वयं चैकमाप्तं राधा भावद्युतिसुबलितं नौमि कृष्णस्वरूपम् श्रीराधाया प्रणयमहिमा कीदृशोऽबा नैव स्वाद्यजेनाद्भुतमधुरिमा कीदृशोऽबा मदीय सौख्यं च स्यामदनुभवत कीदृशं व्यक्तिलोभा तद्भावाढ्यसमजने शशिगर्भसिन्धौ हरिन्दो श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So all of us, we know Chaitanya Charitamrita was compiled by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So first of all, we should know about Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was born in West Bengal, in the village called Jamatpur, in the district of Bardhaman. His father's name was Bhagirath and his mother's name was Sunanda. He had one younger brother. His name was Shyama Das. When he was only 6 years old, his father passed away. His mother was very carefully raising up these two kids. Krishnadas was 6 years old and his younger brother Shyamadas was 4 years old. We can very easily imagine what would be the situation for the widow mother Sunanda to raise these two kids. And it is said that she took shelter of her relatives to raise the children. At the same time, Sunanda, being a very chaste and dedicated to her beloved husband, she could not bear the separation for a long time. Immediately, after a few years, she also left her body. So now you can imagine these two small children, they are left with the relatives. And it is described that Krishnadas, from the very beginning of his childhood, he was very grave, he was very peaceful at the same time, and his behavior was so sweet that everybody liked Krishnadas. And he was very much devoted to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is said that towards the last part of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime he was born, even though he did not have the good fortune to meet with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in person, but he did have the good fortune to associate with the dear associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why he had got the access to the treasure house of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Prema Sankirtana. Since his childhood, he was very much attached to chanting, reading Vaishnava literature, and performing the sadhana bhakti as per the recommendation of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So it so happened that one day he arranged a Harinam Sankirtan in his house with his brother Syamadas. And at that time, there was a devotee of Sriman Nityananda Prabhu, whose name was uh, Minketan Ramdas. He was invited to attend the program in the house of Krishna Das. When this Minketan Ramdas came, the brother of Krishna Das, he entered into a discussion with him about the behavior and activity of Nityananda Prabhu. Minketan Ramdas, being a devoted servant of Sriman Nityananda Prabhu, could not tolerate the impudent behavior of the brother of Krishna Das. And they continued discussion for some time. The brother of Krishna Das, he was accusing Nityananda Prabhu for his behavior. He would accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he would not accept Nitai. That gives a terrible pain to the heart of Minketan Ramdas and Krishnadas Kaviraj also. Then it so happened at one point, Minketan Ramdas could not tolerate the insult, and he left the place by breaking the flute, which he used to carry always with him. When Minketan Ramdas left the house of Krishnadas felt very much insulted. And in fact, he could not tolerate the insult that was given to Minketan Ramdas by his brother. And he actually wanted to teach his brother. And then he again started discussing with his brother. He said, Dui bhai ekatanu saman prakas nityananda namana tomar habe sarvanas ekete vishwas anye nakara samman ardha kukkuti nyay tomar praman Kimba dui namani hot pasanda eke mani are namani ei mato bhanda. So he said that these two brothers, they have become manifest in two different forms, but there is actuality, in actuality, there is no difference. You accept one and you don't accept the other one. This is the sign of Ardha Kukkuta Nyaya. You know Ardha Kukkuta Nyaya. So then he said, actually this is the sign of a very, very impudent behavior, Pashanda. Pakhandas are those, Papasya Khanda Pakhanda. Actually, these people, they do not accept the Vedic injunctions as it is. They have their own interpretation. So in that way, when the brother of Krishnadas was not accepting Nityananda Prabhu, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, this is how he said that if you are not accepting Nityananda Prabhu, actually everything will be lost in your life. So in that way, even though he tried his level best to console, to convince his brother, but his brother would not accept the mood of Krishnadas. Then finally, it so happened that both of them, they went back to sleep. And at night, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami had a very nice divine dream. Sriman Nityananda Prabhu appeared to Krishnadas in the dream at night, and he said, Oye oye Krishnadas nakarato bhoy, Vrindavan jao taha sarva labhya hai. My dear Krishnadas, don't fear, just go to Vrindavan. All your transcendental desires will be fulfilled in Vrindavan. So, having been instructed, thus being instructed in the dream, next morning when Krishnadas woke up, he was just thinking about the instruction that he had received in the dream. And finally, he came to a decision that no, this house is not meant for me anymore to reside. I should leave this place as quick as possible. So, very quickly, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami left his home in Jamatpur and went to Vrindavan. When he arrived in Vrindavan, he took shelter of the six Goswamis, Rupa, Sanatan, others. So in that way, under the able guidance of the six Goswamis in Vrindavan, Krishnadas studied all the Vaishnava literatures very thoroughly. And he became a celebrated Pandit then. And everybody was very much fond of Krishnadas for his behavior, for his Shastric knowledge. So, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he has written many books. Some of his books are very, very highly accepted in Vaishnava community. Just like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he has written Govinda Lilamritam. Some of you may know. This is explaining about the Ashtakalya Lila of Sri Radha Krishna. And also he has given one commentary to the Bindu Mangal Thakur's writing, Krishna Karnamrita, that is Sarangaranga Latika. And he's very, very famous for such kind of writings amongst Gaudiya Vaishnava communities. Like this Gaur Govinda Lilamritam, Sarangaranga Latika of Krishna Karnamrita. These are Rasa Granthas and very high level understanding about the confidential pastime of Radha and Krishna been explained in such kind of literatures. Anyway, so Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now the question can be asked, oh, because Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami personally did not meet with Sriman Mahaprabhu, then how did he write this book? How did he compile this book? Did he concoct, or what is the material? Where is the material he got it from to compile Chaitanya Charitamrita? That's how the history says. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami did not concoct single words. What did he do? Actually, he took the evidences from different literatures, such as there were many literatures compiled about the pastime of Sriman Mahaprabhu prior to the compilation of Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami took materials from Vrindavan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Bhagavat, Murari Gupta Karcha, which is called Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Kavya, then Swarup Damodar Karcha, Das Goswami's Tabamala, Kavi Karnapur, Chaitanya Chandrodoy Natak, and Chaitanya Charitamrita Mahakavyam, Sanatana Goswami, and other associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they used to come together every evening after the departure of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And all these Goswamis, they used to sit together and discuss about the pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from their memory. So in this way, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami had the opportunity to draw from these bona fide literatures, such as the associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa, Sanatan, and others, like Raghunath Goswami also. In that way, he compiled this book. And it is said that Sometimes those pastimes which are not narrated in the book, he could hear from the dear associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu once he visited Varanasi. And in Varanasi, he had very intimate pastime with three devotees, that is Tapan Mishra, then the Brahmin from Maharashtra, and Chandrasekhar. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami had the opportunity to meet with these three elevated souls, Tapan Mishra, Maharashtra Brahmin, and Chandrasekhar Acharya. So in that way, he was able to take material from either from the literature which are compiled prior to him compiling Chaitanya Charitamrita, and whatever he had heard from the associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he put everything together and compiled Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, actually, before compiling Chaitanya, how did he get the desire to write Chaitanya Charitamrita? Already some books were there, as I mentioned. Then definitely a question can be asked, what is the impetus? Why did he choose to write this Chaitanya Charitamrita again? Okay. So, as I said, mentioned that all these Goswamis in Vrindavan, they used to come together and read from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Rochandas Thakur's Chaitanya Mangal, and other literature, Murari Gupta Karcha, Swarup Damodar Karcha. Karcha means diary, whatever they had written about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, what they had witnessed. So they were discussing about the pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming together. And when they were discussing, but nobody was mentioning about the Antya-lila pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So some Vaishnavas, they approached Krishnadas asking him to compile the complete pastime of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in form of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So because the devotees in Vrindavan, they asked Krishnadas to compile a literature, that's how he agreed to compile the literature. And in his writing, he has taken the references from, as I mentioned, from Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Bhagavat, and diaries from Swarup Damodar and Murari Gupta. But what he has done is, for example, Vrindavan Das Thakur has written so many pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and his associates in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami compiled Chaitanya Charitamrita without entering into the detailed discussion of what have already been defined by Vrindavan Das Thakur in Chaitanya Bhagavat. He focused more on giving elaborate discussion on other topics. So in that way, he compiled the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita. But coming back to the point that how did he compile? I mean, where did he get the inspiration from? Even though he was instructed by the devotees in Vrindavan to compile Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami did not feel himself qualified to write Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, because it is the desire of the acharyas, the devotees in Vrindavan, so he took this as a service to all the devotees. But again, in his mind, he thought to himself, oh, let me go to Radha Madan Mohanji. And if I can get permission from Radha Madan Mohan, then only I can start writing Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We can see the mood of an acharya. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, being such a highly elevated devotee of Sriman Mahaprabhu, he does not feel qualified to compile the literature without being blessed by the Vaishnavas, and the deity form of the Lord. So with a sincere desire in his heart, Krishnadas one day approached Radha Madan Mohan temple. And when he went there, there was a pujari by the name Gosai Das. This Gosai Das was worshipping Radha Madan Mohan at that time. Upon arriving in Radha Madan Mohan temple, Krishna Das, he offered his prostrated obeisances to the deity, and he was begging to the deity for permission so that he can start writing Chaitanya Charitamrita. In fact, in core of his heart, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was expecting some indication to be shown to him by the deity. And it so happened that while Krishnadas was offering his obeisances and praying fervently from the core of his heart to Radha Madan Mohan, all on a sudden, a garland from the deity fell off. And Gosai Das, the pujari, he took the garland and gave it to Krishnadas. So Krishnadas took this as an indication from Radha Madan Mohan to start compiling Chaitanya Charitamrita. And he says, Agyamala Payamor Haila Ananda Tahai Karinvei Granther Arambha. So sitting there in the temple, after receiving the indication in form of the garland from Sri Radha Madan Mohanji, he started writing this book right from there. And this Chaitanya Charitamrita has got 3 volumes, as you know, Adi Lila, Madhya Lila, and Antya Lila. 3 parts. There are many volumes Prabhupada has given, but mainly it is divided into 3 parts: Adi, Madhya, and Antya. So, in brief, in Adi Lila, the description has been given right from the birth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu until just prior to his taking sannyas. That is the subject matter of Adi Lila. And after taking sannyas, he went to Puri, and he, until the first 6 years of his Puri pastime, after sannyas until first 6 years of his residing in Puri, this pastime is included in Madhya Lila, and rest is last 18 years of pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is compiled in Antya Lila. In this way, Adi Lila has got 17 chapters, Madhya Lila has got 25 chapters, and Antya Lila has got 20 chapters. This is complete Chaitanya Charitamrita. And it is said that after 75 years of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's disappearance, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami started compiling this Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it took him around 7 to 8 years to complete the writing. And Chaitanya, our Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, is very much famous amongst the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for his writing Chaitanya Charitamrita. In fact, anyone who is desirous to know about Sriman Mahaprabhu and his pastimes, of course, his associates, they are asked to read this Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's a very juicy literature. It's a juice. You can drink the nectar. It is not required to touch the teeth. Just put in your mouth and you can just start drinking. So this is the nectar given by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in form of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So now we're going to discuss about the Mangalacharan prayer. So we should know that this is a custom when a devotee starts writing or starts to glorify the Supreme, they chant Mangalacharan prayers. Mangalacharan is an auspicious invocation to uh, get the mercy of the Supreme so that they can continue the work without any impediment. So, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Sei Mangalacharan hoy trividha prakar, vastu nirdesh asirvad, or namaskar. Mangalacharan has got three components. One is vastu nirdesh. Vastu nirdesh means the objective of the book. Who is the object of description in the particular work that will be defined in one part of Chaitanya Mangalacharan, and Vastu Nirdesh Ashirvad. Then in another portion of Mangalacharan prayer, the writer or the speaker will try to invoke auspiciousness, and then Namaskar. Namaskar means offering obeisances to Guru, Gauranga, the deity. So in that way, in the beginning, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he also cites this Mangalacharan prayer by offering obeisances to the Guru. So in the first verse of Mangalacharan prayer, which starts with Bande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Isham Ishavatarakan Tat Prakashang Chatat Sakti Krishna Chaitanya Sangyakam. The translation goes like this: I offer my respectful obeisances unto the spiritual masters, the devotees of the Lord's incarnations, his plenary portions, his energies, and the primeval Lord himself, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So it is said that this verse in this Bande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Isham Isha Avatarakan, this is Samanya Namaskar. Samanya Namaskar means in general, he is offering his obeisances. Like if you see the verse, Bande Gurun. Here Gurun is plural number. Plural number. That means I offer my obeisances to Siksha Guru and Diksha Guru. So anyone can offer the obeisances to their spiritual master by chanting this mantra, even if they are not reciting the mantra of their particular spiritual master. But in general, we can offer this respect. Just like we have seen some devotees in our society, and they also chant this, Om Jnana Timirandasya. It's applicable for all spiritual masters, Guru Tattva. So in that way, in the first verse, he offers obeisances in general. Then, in particular, he starts from text number 2. He's offering obeisances to all different individuals, like Bande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Gododaye Puspavanto Chitrosvando Tamonda. He's particularly referring to the names of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu. So this is kind of very much personal to different individuals. Is offering his obeisances. Then, if you see the next verse, which is starting with Jad Advaita Brahmopanishadi Dadapyashatanova Ja Atma Antarjami Purusheti So Ashyam Sabhava Sadaishwariya Puruna Jaya Bhagavan Saswayamayam Na Chaitanyat Krishna Jagati Paratatvam Paramya. So here he is describing Vastu Nirdesh part. What is the objective? Who is the object of Chaitanya Charitamrita? Vastu Nirdesh. Then from Anarpita Charim Chirat unto the end, the fourth, Anarpita Charim Chirat, the fourth verse that speaks about the आशीर्वादात्मक मंगलाचरण अनर्पित चरिम चिरादत निजगुप्त वित्तम स्वप्रेम नामामृतम अत्युदारम आपामरो जगतारक कृष्ण जनभ्यस्तमहं प्रपद्ये. So all these verses, they speak about the merciful nature of Sriman Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give something what has never ever been given by any other incarnation. So in that way, this is a benediction. Yeah, this is a benediction. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give something which has never been given by any other incarnation, this is a special benediction. So then, from text number 5th till the 14th end, also it speaks about the Vastu Nirdesh Mangalachan. So in this way, he completes this Mangalachan prayer, and after completing this Mangalachan prayer, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he starts explaining the meaning of these verses, what he is doing, who he is offering obeisances to. So I am not going continuously, but I am just because I thought of discussing about this verse, Bande Gurun Isha Bhaktan. So this verse is, the explanation of this verse starts from Adi Lila chapter 1, text number 34 onwards. To explain, to describe this verse, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he is writing in text number 34, Bande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Isham Isha Vatarakan Tat Prakasham Tat Sakti Krishna Chaitanya Samyakam. So, when he says Bande Gurun, here Gurun is, as I said, plural. Plural. That means he is offering obeisances to Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru. Sometimes Diksha Guru is also called Mantra Guru, one who gives us Krishna Mantra, Diksha Mantra. He is Diksha Guru. So when he says Bande Gurun, that is Bahuvachan, so how can you say that this is Mantra Guru, Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru? That's how in next verse, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he clearly explains Mantra Guru Arjata Sikha Gurugan Tahara Charana Age Kari Bandan. I first offer my respectful obeisances at the lotus feet of my initiating spiritual master and all my instructing spiritual masters. So here he is clearly speaking that he is offering obeisances to both Siksha Guru and Diksha Guru. So we need to know something about the Siksha Guru and Diksha Guru. The Siksha Guru and Diksha Guru are actually same. They are the representative of the Supreme Lord. In our Vaishnava understanding, we don't differentiate because they are not meant to teach something different from each other. That's how in our society we have seen that when a disciple who is initiated by a particular guru is asking his spiritual master, asking for the permission from his spiritual master to accept another devotee as his Shiksha Guru, then Guru Maharaj has to see whether that devotee who is going to be acting as a Shiksha Guru for my disciple is teaching the same or not. If he is teaching something different, his mood is different, then he is not accepted. Just like in our society, we belong to this Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, and of course ISKCON. And in our movement, we have seen many devotees, after taking initiation from a particular spiritual master, they accept some other gurus or senior devotees as their Shiksha Guru because they are teaching the same conclusion, just like Prabhupada has given a commentary, Bhaktivedanta Tatparjas. All these followers of ISKCON, senior and junior members, they are following the same teaching. So even though they may be working in different capacities as Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru, but they will be teaching the same conclusion. An analogy has been taken just like if you take two leaves from the same tree, if you chew the leaves, they will give the same taste. And if you press these two leaves together, they are, they see, they present a similar kind of character. So in that way, they teach the same thing, and that's why Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, I offer my respectful obeisances to both Siksha Guru and Diksha Guru. So we're going to discuss a little more about it when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is going to give some references from Srimad Bhagavatam to explain this pastime. And before coming there, he is actually speaking that Sri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatto Das Raghunath Eichai Guru Shiksha Guru Je Amar Ta Savar Pada Padme Koti Namaskar. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has accepted the six Goswamis, Sri Rupa, Sanatan, Bhatta Raghunath, Das Raghunath, Jiva Goswami, and Gopal Bhatta Goswami as his instructing spiritual masters. And he is offering millions of respectful obeisances unto their lotus feet. Then भगवानेर भक्तजत श्रीवास प्रधान ताशवार पाद पद्मे सहस्र pranam. Now he is offering obeisances to the innumerable devotees of the Lord, of whom Srivas Thakur is foremost bhakta. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. The Srivas is representing all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So first, he is offering obeisances to the devotees. It's very, very important. We need to understand. Of course, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita further it will be explained. When we approach Panchatattva, this Panchatattva, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in 5 features is Panchatattva. So they are performing very, very significant role in guiding a disciple from the conditioned state of existence unto the point of being completely liberated from the material contaminations and taking shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they are being guided through these different personalities as Panchatattva. We, being the conditioned souls, we have got no qualification to directly approach the Supreme Lord. That is why in our conditioned state of existence, we can take shelter of a devotee who, by giving us these transcendental instructions, will help us to become purified from the troublesome things that are in their heart and come to take shelter of Advaita Acharya. So the same Guru who is acting in the role of Shivas, now he is helping us to become further cleansed of the material contaminations by taking shelter of Advaita Acharya. As we know, Advaita Acharya has appeared Advaita Acharya had called for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu upon seeing the pathetic condition, the fallen condition of this age of Kali, people of this age of Kali. That's why now whatever remaining contaminations are still there in the sadhaka, it is going to be cleansed off by taking shelter of Advaita Acharya. When Advaita Acharya he cleanses all the contaminations, then the disciple is being handed over to Srimad Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu is representing Suddha Sattva platform. He is also the Guru Tattva. And when we come to the Nityananda Prabhu, he helps us to become fully situated in the Suddha Sattva platform. Suddha Sattva Krishna Vikas. So at that time, Krishna will be revealed to the devotees in the Suddha Sattva platform by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. He is also representing spiritual master. And then when he is completely pure and Krishna is available to him, then this devotee is handed over to Gadadhar, who is representing Srimati Radharani. And by taking shelter of Gadadhar, the devotee is very happily engaged in the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is how the following sequence, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami first offers his obeisances to Srivas, then you can see to Advaita Acharya, who is Amsa Avatar of the Lord, and then Nityananda Prabhu, who is Swarup Nityananda Ram, is the plenary manifestation of the Lord, and I have been initiated by him. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's initiating spiritual master was Sriman Nityananda Prabhu. Okay. Then he offers obeisances to Gadadhar, and then finally he says, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Swayam Bhagavan Tahara Padara Binde Ananta Pranam. Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the personality of Godhead himself, and therefore I offer innumerable prostrations at his lotus feet. Then he continues to explain that Jadyapi Amar Guru Chaitanya Das Tathapi Jani Ami Tahar Prakash. Even though I know that my spiritual master is a servitor of Sri Chaitanya, I know him also a plenary manifestation of the Lord. Now, this is where we're going to discuss about Guru Tattva, this Guru. He says, Guru Krishna Ruphan Shastra Pramana. According to deliberate opinion of all revealed scriptures, the spiritual master is non-different from Krishna. Don't think we are Mayavadis. Mayavadis, they say Guru is not different from Krishna. We're going to explain this. But according to the deliberate opinion of all revealed scriptures, Guru Krishna Rupan, Shastra Pramana. Shastra says Guru is Krishna, not different from Krishna. Guru is not different from Krishna, spiritual master. And Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karen Bhaktagane. Krishna, in form of spiritual master, delivers the disciple. So in that way, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, to explain this concept very clearly, he is quoting this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, chapter 17, text number 27. Acharyam mam vijaniyat navamannita karhichit na martya buddhya shuyeta sarva deva mayo guruhu. Here it is said, one should know the Acharya as myself and never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking him an ordinary man, for he is the representative of all the demigods. So this verse explains very nicely about Guru Tattva principle. Acharyam mam vijaniyat. When Krishna is speaking to Uddhava that you should know myself is Acharya. I am coming in form of the Acharya. That means he's saying Madhyam Prastham Vijaniyat. He is very dear and confidential servant of me. Krishna is speaking. Madhya Prastham. The same concept, same principle have been explained by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in Gurvastaka prayers. Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastrai Uktas Tatha Bhavyata Eva Sadhi Kintu Prabhurja Priya Tasya. This is the opinion of all deliberate literatures, deliberate opinion of Vedic literature. What? Guru is Sakshat Hari. It seems like in the first line, it is said, Guru is not different from Krishna. Oh yes. How Guru is not different from Krishna? That part being explained very clearly by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in the second line. Kintu Prabhurja Priyo Tasya. Because he is a very dear servant of the Lord. That's why previous it has been said, Nikunja Juna Ratikeli Siddhi Jajali Vedukira Prakshaniya Tatrati Dakshadit Ballabhasya is very expert in arranging the confidential pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna and assisting the gopis and sakhis. So he is a very dear and confidential expert servant of the Supreme Lord. That's why when here it is said, Acharyam Mam Vijaniyat, we should know the spiritual master is not different from me, Krishna. That means this Guru is a dear and confidential servant to the Lord. That is called Madhyam Prastham. Then, so if you say this, he is a confidential servant and very dear to him, there is none different from him, he is not different from the Supreme. Prabhupada gives an example just like a post peon. A post peon duty is to transfer the letters from one place to another. He says, if your friend gives you $100 and the post peon does not have the capacity to open the check letter and deduct something or add something from there. No, he delivers as it is. What he receives, he delivers the same. Similarly, the bona fide spiritual master, he does not add anything or subtract anything from the instructions of the Supreme Lord. So in that way, he is very dear servant of the Lord. He is servant Godhead. Krishna is actually executing his desires through Guru. Or you can say in form of Guru, he is executing his desires in this material world. And explaining this, that Shiksha Guru ke to jani Krishner Swarup Antarjami Bhakta Sreshta ei dui roop. Actually, spiritual master, Acharya, is manifested in two ways. What is that? Super soul and a great devotee of the Lord. Antarjami Bhakta Sreshta. Prabhupada says, the Acharya in the true sense of the term, who is authorized to deliver Krishna, enriches the disciple with full spiritual knowledge and thus awakens him to the activities of devotional service. So here it is not mentioned that only Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru also. See, Shiksha Guru ke to jani Krishna Swarup. Sometimes we differentiate, oh, there is a difference between Shiksha and Diksha Guru. So according to this explanation of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Shiksha Guru also instructing spiritual master to be the personal, to the personality of Krishna, Amar Swarup, Krishna Swarup. And in explaining this, Prabhupada says, one who teaches how to approach Krishna is the functioning form of the personality of Godhead. Functioning form. Why? He teaches how to approach Krishna. Krishna has got three functional deities form. Who are they? Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinath. Actually, they themselves are representing different tattvas, and the Guru, who is a functional deity, personality of Godhead, functional form of the personality of Godhead, they also represent in this way, whereas Prabhupada says, the instructing spiritual master is a personal manifestation of Sri Madan Mohan Vigraha, whereas, initiating spiritual master is a personal manifestation of Srila Madan Mohan Vigraha, whereas the instructing spiritual master is a personal representative of Sri Govinda Dev Vigraha. Both of these deities are worshipped at Vrindavan. Srila Gopinath is the ultimate attraction in spiritual realization. When it is said that there is no difference between Shiksha and Diksha Guru because they both represent the personality of Krishna, here it is explained that Madan Mohan is Sambandhadi Deva. Means at the time of initiation, Guru Maharaj, he gives us a spiritual name, mantra. This is how he establishes the connection, sambandha, with the Supreme. That's how the initiating spiritual master is the functioning form of the personality of Godhead, which is Madan Mohanji, Madan Mohan deity. And the Shiksha Guru, who is representing Govinda Dev. Govinda Dev is Abhideva Tattva. Abhideva means, process. To explain, to understand this clearly, I want to give an example. What is Abhideva Tattva? For example, somebody is thirsty. He wants to drink water. So now Sambandha Gyan is established. He knows that if I need to quench my thirst, I need to drink water. Having gotten this Sambandha Gyan, now he needs to enter into the process. How he can collect water, and then the goal is to quench the thirst. The process entails that the person has to wake up from where he is sitting, and he needs to go to the water source, get a glass, fill it with water, hold it by right hand, and start putting in his mouth and start drinking. So all these things is described as Abhideva Tattva, Abhideva, the process. And then goal is achieved. He drinks, then his thirst is quenched. So similarly, when we take the initiation and after that, actual spiritual life begins when we follow the instructions, we start practicing. So in that way, your Shiksha Guru is not going to teach you something different from your Diksha Guru. I mean to say, the path, the process, which is going to be, which the Guru, Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru going to teach you is ultimately helping you to attain the love of Godhead. So in that way, there is no difference. That's why Krishna is Satchidanand. Krishna, our Raghunath Das Goswami says, Mukunda Prasthate Smara Guru Varan, Mukunda Prasthate Smara Nanmana. He is telling the mind, your mind, just remember Guru as the Mukunda Prastha. Because he is performing these activities of Krishna. Krishna wants us to approach him. Krishna wants us to serve him. So both this Guru, spiritual, I mean to say instructing and initiating spiritual master are engaging the disciple in a very favorable way to serve Krishna. That's why they are Mukunda Prastha. They are very dear to Mukunda. And he says, Na Martya Buddhi Suyeta. Never consider Guru as an ordinary man. We may say, oh, Guru is also eating, I am also eating. Guru is also sleeping, I am also sleeping. Whatever a common person is doing, he is also doing the same thing. Oh, that means there is no difference. No, you never consider like that. No Martya Buddhi Suyeta. You see, Guru is a special empowered representative of the Supreme Lord. He may be a Jiva Tattva. It does not mean that he is like any other ordinary conditioned living entities. He is Mukta Purush. He is Siddha Mahatma. He has a relationship with the Supreme Lord and he understands what Lord wants to do through him. So in that way, he should never be considered, regarded as an ordinary person. And it is said, Sarva Deva Maya Guru. He actually represents all the demigods. In our society, even though we don't separately worship any demigods, but from this statement of Krishna from Srimad Bhagavatam, where it says, Sarva Deva Maya Guru, we can see that just by worshipping our spiritual master, we get the benefit of worshipping all the demigods. You don't separately need to worship any other demigod. Our Gaudiya Vaishnava understanding is thorough, very clear. And those who follow this, they get the result. Sarvadeva Maya Guru. You see, when somebody worships a particular demigod, if the demigod is pleased, then they will get the benefit, the result. On the other hand, if the demigod is not pleased with our endeavor, then, consequences are going to be very hard, very tough for us. So similarly, here if we can please our spiritual master, Sarvadeva Maya Guru, who is representing all the demigods, there is nothing remain unachieved by such a disciple if the spiritual master is pleased with your worship, with your service. So in that way, this verse explains Acharya Mambijaniya, consider myself an Acharya, never disrespect the spiritual master, don't envy him, and thinking him as an ordinary man. And he is the representative of all the demigods. So this is something, Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, that Guru is simultaneously God and also he is not the God. To give some more understanding about this, like, how he is God and how he is not God. Because we are not Mayavadis. Achintya Bheda Bheda. Yes, he is God. Why he is God? Because he's doing his duty like God. So he's God. At the same time, he's not God. He is not Abhigya, he is not Swarat. Like in the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna is Abhigya. Krishna is Swarat. Krishna knows everything. Your Guru may be walking in New York City, and if you ask him, Guru Maharaj, how many doors and windows are there in this building? Does your Guru know? Not necessarily Guru has to know how many doors and windows are there in a particular building. When he's walking in the street, you are asking him, then can you say, he does not know everything? Outwardly speaking, yes, he does not know everything, but he knows everything in relation to Krishna. That is Guru. But even Krishna, he knows how many doors and windows are there in that particular building. He is Abhigya. And he is Swarat. Krishna is Swarat. Guru is not Swarat. Guru needs fooding, clothing. He is dependent on external agents. But Krishna is Atmaram, Aptakama. He is Swarat Purusha. He is self-satisfied. So in that way, Guru is not Krishna. He is not Swarat. So we, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, have complete understanding about the Guru Tattva principle, and we respect our spiritual master in that way. That's how we get the mercy of Krishna through our Guru, and that enables us to go back home, back to Godhead, to serve the Supreme Lord in His eternal abode. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you may have some question or comment. Otherwise, we will conclude.
Prabhuji, I have a question. You had mentioned about Brahmachari from Maharashtra.
Not Brahmachari, Brahmana.
I'm sorry, Brahmana from Maharashtra. Is there? Can you tell a little bit more about what interaction or any information on?
Actually, this devotee was it's called Maharashtra Brahman in Chaitanya Charitamrita. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited this South India, Tapan Mishra was there, and this person Brahmana was also there. So they had witnessed how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to go to different devotees' house in Chaturmasya time. 4 months he stayed there, and they used to have different discussions. So more detailed discussions I don't remember right now. Maybe I have to refer to the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila that is explained something there. But this person had witnessed the pastime of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and before compiling Chaitanya Charitamrita, he had to meet with all the devotees to know more about their interaction with Mahaprabhu. If you want to know more, you can read, refer to the Madhya Lila. There it is explained.
Okay. And one more question was, so Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was from Jamatpura, and later on...
Jamatpur, yeah.
Jamatpur. And then Lord Nityananda in his dream asked him to go to Vrindavan later. So were there any specific pastimes that were from Navadvip, from Mayapur, that you can share of Krishnadas Kaviraj?
What is that pastime you are asking? I don't understand.
Were there any specific pastimes, like did he spend a lot of time in Mayapur?
No. He did not spend a lot of time in Mayapur. He spent most of the time in Vrindavan. He was around, you can say, around 20 years old. He left Jamatpur and he went to Vrindavan. Since then, he stayed all his life in Vrindavan. He did not return back to Bengal again. So most of his life was spent in Vrindavan, not in Mayapur. Actually, he didn't come to Mayapur. He actually, from Jamatpur, he directly went to Vrindavan, because he was offended by the behavior of his brother, Tuminketan Ramdas, who is a very dear devotee, a disciple of Nityananda Prabhu. And at that time, he was having association of these, devotees nearby, like Srinivasacharya, there's brother, there's Raghunandan's father and his uncle in what is that place? Nearby, this Katua, this Srikhanda, Jajigram, Srikhanda, all these Vaishnavas, they were nearby. They are living nearby to the house of Krishnadas in Jamatpur. So he used to associate with these Vaishnavas. Not necessarily he had any exposure to Navadvip Dham.
I'm just thinking it's something we can learn from. I mean, there's lots to learn, but one point that comes to my mind is that not having met Mahaprabhu, not having spent much time in Navadvip Mayapur, still, not having direct association, still how much He written Chaitanya Charitamrita, which we call the PhD of
Mm.
scriptures.
So this is a very interesting. Now you are coming to the point. This is good. This is a good point you are asking now. So what qualified him? The one who had never met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in person became so qualified to compile this Chaitanya Charitamrita. And all these devotees, they had full faith in him. How did it happen? This happened by the mercy of the acharyas. As he said, this Sara Goswami, when he went to Vrindavan, he was never alone. He was not independent. He was very much careful about following and avoiding by the guide of the Sikh Goswamis, Rupa Sanatan, Gopal Bhatta, Raghunadas Goswami. So all these Goswamis he had accepted as his Shiksha Guru. Not just for lip service, he actually kind of followed their instructions nicely. So this gives us a lesson that it's not very important for us to meet Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in person. Rather, you try to come closer to the dear devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Those who are serving him very closely. If you can take shelter of such devotees, then you can get the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through these devotees. And that will actually help you to meet with Mahaprabhu. And of course, you also need to have an desire, intense desire, greed. Tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam. Lobha, greed is the only price that you desire to come near such devotees of Sriman Mahaprabhu and associate with them. When you associate with them, take their guidance to your heart and practice it. Then everything will be revealed in due course of time. Just like it happened to Krishnadas, because he was very dearly associating with these acharyas, these Goswamis, Sara Goswamis. That was the success, that was the key for him.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, dear devotees, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to speak something. Oh, Padma, you want to ask something?
No question. It was nice lecture. Just wanted to thank you very much. Wonderfully, you have explained how Guru Tattva explained about, the Krishna Goswami, Krishna Kaviraj Goswami's pastime, how he came, and how the Guru Tattva, I never heard about this initiating like this Samanda Vidyan Prayojan, and how initiating Guru is Samanda Jnana, Samanda Tattva, and Avidya Tattva is instructing Gurus or the Siksha Gurus. So all these things I have heard for the first time. So many good things I have heard today. And nicely talk about the Guru Tattva. Very thankful for this wonderful knowledge, bro. Thank you very much.
Chaitanya Charitamrita is a very wonderful scripture, literature for us. You can just simply drink this nectar and you will know everything. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, as Prabhu mentioned, Chaitanya study is PhD study. That means when you study Chaitanya Charitamrita, you will find many references coming from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and many other literatures. In Krishna Karnamrita also sometimes the quotation have been given to support or to nurture the philosophy of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So in that way, maybe one day we should kind of systematically study this one after another verse and understand this tattva. And that will give us a very strong foundation, footage in our Krishna conscious practice. Actually, when we release something, you are fixed there. If you are working for a company and you like your association, your work, the environment there, you are there in the company. Some people, they just stay with the company for the entire life. They don't leave. So similarly, if you want to leave, with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then you need to learn how to live by knowing about him from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Maybe we should study this nicely. That will give you strong footing. Chaitanya Charitamrita is a very nice literature. We are very fortunate souls to be born in ISKCON family, and we have got exposure to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita.
No, who is the Diksha Guru of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami?
Krishnadas? Huh?
Who is the initiating Guru of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami?
Nityananda Prabhu.
Yeah. His brother Minketan also his Nityananda Prabhu disciple.
No, his brother was not Nityananda Prabhu disciple. He was not accepting Nityananda Prabhu. He was, accepting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but not Nityananda Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhu, I have one question. Yeah. So just wanted to add, like, how we can see, like, Kaviraj Goswami, like, very old, and I think 90 plus when he was writing this.
Correct.
If I'm not correct.
Yeah,
Prabhupada also, like, 70, almost 70 plus. 70 started when he started this mission. So, but we are like, I mean, young. I mean, we still have time. But how can we bring this conviction, like, that this faith, like, that I have to do something for Krishna. So I think this desire that invoked, like, we also want to make sure that, like, we have to do something for Prabhupada. We have to do something for developing this sambandha with Krishna somehow in this lifetime. How can we develop this conviction and faith and, like, continue despite of any other circumstances that can happen externally?
Very good question and practical, Prabhu. Thank you. You see, let me tell you, even though this is a completely material example, but try to understand the essence. Sometimes we give some analogy from our world experience so that we can better relate to the philosophical understanding. That's why I am giving this analogy, this example. Please don't take it otherwise. A person who has never taken wine in his life, on the first day, he is being introduced to the wine by someone who has got taste for it. I mean to say, the person who have been drinking and he knows what is wine. So he will tell you, hey, my dear sir, come with me. Let's go. Today, I'll give you something. And you'll be very ecstatic. You'll be very much happy. You'll enjoy your life like anything. Come, I'll show you how to enjoy life. He said, oh yeah, I have been enjoying like that. And then coming in association with someone who is a drug addict. Oh, he is now getting a taste of taking drug. Similarly, one who is intoxicated in serving Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, like Prabhupada, and of course in today's present world, also we have got many devotees who have got full conviction, full dedication. Not as a lip service they do. What is that? These devotees, sometimes you find some devotees, they say so many things, and when it comes to self-practice, they are not actually very honest. Oh, if you are coming and in association with such kind of devotees, not so good actually. Achar prachar name karo karya. So those who are preaching, with full enthusiasm, they have given their heart to the mission of Prabhupada, and they are thoroughly honest. What they are preaching, they are practicing. Try to come in close association with such devotees, because as I said, they have got this, intoxication in them, and they can infect you. This is like an infectious disease. One who has got the disease, you come near him, you will get the disease. So they have got this intense desire to serve Krishna, Mahaprabhu's mission, Prabhupada's mission. So, and they are thoroughly honest in their endeavor, their approach. You try to come near them, serve them, listen to them. As you associate, this is what it means by association: serving them, listening to them, following them, following the instructions, then you will see gradually you will also develop the taste, the conviction, the enthusiasm in you, and that will push you further forward. The association is very important.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah.
Wonderful. Prabhuji, just one quick question. May I?
Yes.
You mentioned that probably it's in continuation for the answer you gave. In one point, you mentioned that if you satisfy your guru, then you can get everything. So how do we know that our guru is happy with the services what you're doing? Sometimes your guru is not always in connection with you. Like there's a little less association, or there's not that much of daily interaction with the Guru Maharaj. How do we know that? How do we understand that Guru Maharaj is happy with the services?
Good. There are, a few practical tips we can give you to know how your Guru Maharaj is happy. Okay, so your Guru Maharaj, he asked you to do something, you do it wholeheartedly. This is number one indication. If you follow his advice as it is, he is happy. But you say, oh, I don't understand whether he is happy or not. Then what you do is, Guru Maharaj asked you to do something, then sometimes you should come back to him, report to him about your service, and ask him and seek further guidance how you can be better situated, committed in serving him, fulfilling his desire. In your interaction with spiritual master, one thing should be very, very clearly communicated to him, that expressing the mood that you sincerely want to follow his instructions. What happens? Our gurus are also sometimes put into a very difficult situation, that Guru Maharaj normally will not instruct a disciple unless Guru Maharaj finds, oh, he is a worthy disciple to follow whatever I say. If Guru Maharaj finds I am an unworthy disciple, he will never instruct anything to me. So that means in your approach to your spiritual master, you should prove to your guru that you are a sincere sadhaka, sincere disciple, and you will be following his instructions as it is. If you can make your approach direct in this way, have an open communication with your guru, the day you see Guru Maharaj is asking you to do something, oh, this is how you should know that your Guru Maharaj is pleased. And how Guru Maharaj is pleased, how should I know? Sometimes you can go to the devotee who are dear to Guru. By serving them, by following them, they are pleased. And one day, they will talk about you to your Guru. Guru Maharaj will be pleased. He is pleased. And when this one who is dear to your Guru is pleased, Guru is also pleased. So in that way, these are all kind of practical things, nothing sentimental here. That, oh, I am sitting here, Guru Maharaj is not always available to me. Oh, I am doing everything, Guru is very happy, Guru is pleased. No, it doesn't work like that. Guru-disciple relationship is a very personal relationship. You should be able to come in contact with your Guru in person. As I hinted these two examples, that if you approach your Guru with submissive mood, and your Guru gains the confidence that, oh, here is a worthy disciple who I can instruct with, and he will listen to. And one day he instructs you, or this is an indication that he is pleased. And the other indication in person that you associate with someone who is very close to your Guru, and when he is pleased, that means to him, your Guru also will be pleased, and you can get his mercy. Of course, by following his advice, by doing some personal service also, you can, please your Guru.
Thank you,
Okay.
Prabhu.
Thank you.